little bit ago, the college football world received some pretty shocking news. This news was that Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops announces his retirement after 18 seasons at Oklahoma. Some think that this could have waited until next season. Some are confused on why he didn't do it at the end of last season. Others are kind of neutral about it. So we're going to talk about this for a little bit, and then we're going to get to what I was planning on doing today, going over some Heisman Trophy contenders. And we're going to take fan questions at the end to kind of make sure the tempo is better today. So let's first talk about the news that came out today. It was announced that Bob Stoops will retire after 18 seasons at Oklahoma. We don't really know why he did, but here's some possibilities and what could have happened. Maybe it could have been health concerns. Maybe it could have been the fact that he looked at last year and he probably saw that as the year they had to win the national championship, or else it wasn't going to happen. That could be a possibility as well. Or maybe he just saw the outlook of he wasn't going to win another national championship. Or what Philip Gaddy is saying in the comment section, he said he just wants to live life. That kind of reminds me of when NASCAR driver Carl Edwards announced his retirement before the start of this season in NASCAR. He kind of said the same things, that he was young, there are things he wants to accomplish in life, other things he wants to do. But the show will go on for Oklahoma football. They've named Lincoln Riley the head coach this season, their offensive coordinator. The thing about this is Lincoln Riley was set up to be one of those head coaches on the rise. Because maybe there was a possibility that if Lincoln Riley was still the Oklahoma offensive coordinator, but now he'll be the head coach, there's probably possibilities that he would be offered like a job somewhere, like maybe he'd be offered the Texas A&M head coach, maybe if they actually do part ways with Kevin Sumlin at the end of the season. Or maybe he'll take the Michigan State coaching job or Notre Dame coaching job if either of those head coaches get relieved of their duties from their respective schools. Or maybe he might take a group of 5 team coaching job. Or maybe he might take the Texas Tech coaching job. Because Lincoln Riley has the potential to be a great head coach in college football. But the thing is, the fact that they announced this at this point in the season, in the off season, before the season even starts, I feel like maybe Oklahoma will either do really well with this, or they're going to have a completely down year, like a complete 8-4, 7-5 year. One of the two things is going to happen with Oklahoma. It's going to be a solid 11-1 season, or they're going to just completely crash and burn at 7-5 or 8-4. And if you didn't see my my preseason top 25, I had Oklahoma being the preseason number 1 team, because you've got Baker Mayfield coming back, solid senior leadership, ability to change the game, a guy that never gives up. But I think Baker Mayfield's going to react just fine to this. I think it's going to be really all right. So let's read what we have so far. Wilson Breckenridge says, good thing they didn't make Mike Stoops the head coach. And D-Dog Sports says that I wish Lincoln Riley would go to Texas A&M. I kind of do. I kind of do wish Lincoln Riley would go to Texas A&M, because I think he has better potential being a head coach than Kevin Sumlin. I'm not saying that Kevin Sumlin's a bad coach. I'm just saying he's not kind of the coach. He's not a SEC caliber head coach. Yes, they beat Alabama in 2012. But Texas A&M had the quarterback of Johnny Manziel to beat Alabama. And as you noticed, ever since Johnny Manziel left Texas A&M, when they play Alabama, it's not even close anymore. Alabama just completely rolls all over them each and every year. I believe one year was like 56-0. But last year they competed against Alabama really well. Trevor Knight was doing pretty solid. But they just pulled away in the second half. But that's going to be another video for another day. Head coaches on the hot seat. We might do that next. We might do quarterback battles next. Because there's a couple teams that have intriguing quarterback battles heading into the season. So now let's talk about the Heisman Trophy contenders. And if anybody wants to go back to this Bob Stoops retiring reaction, leave it in the comment section. We'll go over it at the end, along with the other questions we have. Let's start with the list of Heisman Trophy contenders. Now, what I listed, I have about 10 Heisman favorites and about 5 dark horses. So let's start off with the favorites. You can include Lamar Jackson, quarterback of Louisville, last year's Heisman winner, out of this list. Lamar Jackson, I think he's either going to be... I think he'll at least be a finalist this year, depending on what happens. What did do OU? This really caught me off guard. I was actually waiting for you, bud. I was waiting for you to see your reaction to this. Because I know you're a loyal Oklahoma fan. We've interacted about this for years. But I don't think it's going to change the Oklahoma program one bit. But I was reading some things on Twitter that said he just had to probably step down. It was probably the time to do it. Because you can't live off one national championship forever. I mean, Les Miles won a national championship for LSU. And he was relieved of his duties in the middle of the season last year. So it just shows you can't live off one national championship forever. Urban Meyer's got 3 national championships now. Dylan Flores. I know that Baker Mayfield is a great QB, but I feel like OU is just going to waste an amazing talent in Kyler Murray. Yeah, Texas did the same exact thing. 5-star recruit coming out of high school. But they start Kyle Allen on the season opener against Arizona State back in 2015. Kyler Murray saw the playing field that day, but Kevin Sumlin only wanted to use Kyler Murray for like maybe third and short situations or third down running plays. Maybe they're going to go back to that possibility of they're going to put Baker Mayfield in the game for his first down, second down plays. Maybe put in Kyler Murray for third and short, kind of like what they did with Blake Bell back in I think it was 2010. Kind of put in where they would always put in Blake Bell in like short yardage situations. So I can see that happening. Because I think Kyler Murray is going to see the field for Oklahoma this year. It just depends on when. Many people were saying that Bob Stoops also had to face some controversy and scrutiny. Like with allowing Joe Mixon to play last season after his incident. Or it was the fact that where the whole Baker Mayfield arrest video was coming out and we were probably expecting Baker Mayfield to be suspended for at least the first half of the opener or like maybe the first 2 games of the year. They were kind of talking about those points. Maybe there was some scrutiny going on or controversy regarding those incidents. But anyway, let's go back to the Heisman contenders. We already named Louisville quarterback Lamar Jackson, last year's winner. But I felt like he didn't necessarily was the best choice for it last year. I personally felt like Deshaun Watson should have deserved it. But if Lamar Jackson gets it this year, he'll probably have earned it. Next, we're going to talk about USC quarterback Sam Darnold. Now he's projected to be the first or second quarterback taken in the 2018 NFL Draft. And USC started off really slow last year, 1-3, but as soon as Clay Helton gave the reins to Sam Darnold, it just completely turned the team around. Huge momentum swing. Sam Darnold's got the game changer ability. Kind of like the next guy, Baker Mayfield, the Oklahoma quarterback. Which we were kind of just talking about him with Bob Stoops retiring today. Which we're going to get to at the end. Just leave questions about that or any of the other Heisman contenders. Or even the dark horses. We'll get to those at the end. Name some Heisman dark horses of your own in the live chat. And we'll talk about them at the end. Next, another quarterback. Ohio State quarterback J.T. Barrett. Now, J.T. Barrett could have been a Heisman contender in his freshman season, but he went down at the Michigan game with a season-ending knee injury, I believe it was. And then Cardell Jones had to carry the team all the way to the national championship that year. And plus, Ohio State could be a team that starts off maybe number 1 or number 2. Ohio State is going to at least start off in the preseason top 3. I guarantee they'll at least be a top 3 team. All right, next four we're going to talk about are running backs. Nick Chubb, running back for Georgia. Saquon Barkley, running back for Penn State. Darius Grice, running back for LSU. And Bo Scarborough, running back for Alabama. All 4 of those running backs, they just take the pressure off of the quarterback. Although I think Darius Grice is going to depend on how he does this season. Leonard Fournette was a Heisman contender the last 2 years until Alabama became his kryptonite. Maybe the same thing happens with Darius Grice this year. So I'm putting a big asterisk next to Darius Grice as a Heisman contender, or at least a favorite, because I think if he's going to be a Heisman finalist, he's going to have to beat Alabama, or LSU will have to beat Alabama this season. Nick Chubb, the same thing. I feel like if Georgia were to miraculously win the SEC championship, I feel like Nick Chubb will deserve the Heisman Trophy. Or if Saquon Barkley, running back out of Penn State, if they win the Big Ten, if they make the college football playoff, Saquon Barkley would definitely deserve the Heisman Trophy. Many think that Saquon Barkley will be the first running back taken in the 2018 NFL Draft. Bo Scarborough, I think he may be a first rounder, maybe early second, depending on what happens this season. And the final 2 favorites that I have on this list, both quarterbacks. DeAndre Francois, quarterback out of Florida State. He's got a year of starting experience under his belt. He's looking to improve this year, as well as a guy that should have been a Heisman finalist last year, in my opinion. This guy should have been a finalist, in my opinion. I felt like he did a great job last season, leading his team to the college football playoff. Jake Browning, quarterback out of Washington. I feel like he deserved that spot, but Washington did kind of an easy schedule last year. They got an easy one this year as well. Now let's get to some Heisman dark horses. Now these are my favorite guys to talk about because they're guys that I think are going to fly under the radar. Let's start with Quentin Flowers, quarterback out of South Florida, under new head coach Charlie Strong. As I was talking about in my preseason rankings, South Florida has the ability to go at least 10-2 or 11-1 and possibly steal the New Year's 6 bid. And I feel like if South Florida ends up going 10-2 or 11-1, it's going to be because of Quentin Flowers putting the team on his back. He's got the ability to throw and run, beat you through the air and on the ground. Next, I got Luke Falk, quarterback out of Washington State. Now, he could also he has the potential to be a first-round pick in next year's NFL Draft. Maybe he'll fall to the Arizona Cardinals because they're got an aging Carson Palmer. Or possibly maybe the Vikings because Sam Bradford's 2-year contract is going to end next year. And we don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the same as he was before the injury. So maybe Luke Falk might sneak into the first round of the NFL Draft. He's got a great arm, but I feel like Luke Falk will have numbers that'll kind of like similar to Jake Browning's last year. Because the Pac-12 is going to be the best conference to look at quarterback play. Because you have Sam Darnold, you've got Jake Browning, you've got Josh Rosen, you've got Luke Falk. You've got all these talented quarterbacks. So the Pac-12 is going to be the conference to watch for quarterback play, most definitely. Next on my Heisman Dark Horse list, I have James Washington, wide receiver of Oklahoma State. This guy might be one of the finalists for the Blintikoff Award this year. I think he's that talented. Plus, he's got Mason Rudolph, who many believe he is going to be a Heisman contender. Next, this is a defensive guy. Ed Oliver, defensive tackle of Houston. He's a workhorse on defense. I think he might be a future number 1 overall pick, maybe in the 2019 NFL Draft or 2020 NFL Draft, depending on when he comes out. He's got the ability to get to the quarterback. In fact, I believe he was the highest ESPN 300, or like top 150 recruit to sign with a Group of 5 school ever, which just shows the ability that he has, considering he was offered scholarships to Power 5 conferences. And my final Heisman Dark Horse, Justin Jackson, running back of Northwestern. And the Big Ten is going to be kind of intriguing to watch for a couple of different reasons. The Big Ten's all about the ground and pound and just strong and angry defense. Those are the two best reasons to watch the Big Ten football. In fact, let's kind of go down the line of the Power 5 conferences and what to watch. The Big 12 is high-powered offense. Pac-12, quarterback play especially. Big 10, the ground and pound, and hard defense. SEC is mostly hard defense. The ACC, you sometimes get a mixture of both. You'll sometimes have a good defense, or you'll sometimes see great offense in the past, like you've seen Louisville, Florida State, Clemson. North Carolina the last couple of years. Great offenses. And sometimes a mixture of both. Sometimes great defense, sometimes great offense as well. Anyway, Justin Jackson's a senior at Northwestern this year. As I was kind of saying in my preseason rankings last week as well, I feel like Northwestern might be a team that flies under the radar this year in the Big Ten. I think there's a possibility Northwestern could play for the Big Ten championship this year. So they've got a lot of strong guys coming back this year. They've got Justin Jackson, quarterback Clayton Thurston. Got a great core of wide receivers coming back this year as well. And before we wrap it up, let's look in the live chat to see what people have to say. Dylan Flores says he sure hopes so because he doesn't want to watch Kyler Murray sit on the bench. I could see that happening. I could see Kyler Murray maybe starting one of the games, or maybe not necessarily start, but at least get more playing time than what normally a backup quarterback would get. Because if you remember, because kind of what I was talking about earlier in the live stream. In 2010 they had Landry Jones, the first down back. It was like back in 2010 or 2011 where I think it was, where they had Landry Jones coming in for first and second down. And then they had Blake Bell come in for like third and short situations, or like third and inches, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, or whatever it was. So I feel like I feel like Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma are going to utilize Kyler Murray more than what they did with Texas A&M. Because Oklahoma was more of a football powerhouse than Texas A&M is, and probably what Texas A&M will ever be, to be honest with you. I just feel like Texas A&M just had like 2 good years and that was it. So if Kyler Murray doesn't see the field at all, I'm going to be extremely shocked, because he's got great escapability, the ability to extend plays. He's got speed and agility. It would be really shocking that he did not see the field at all. We've got Micah So Cute. Go Big Ten. The Big Ten has great defense as well. The Big Ten, I think, is the best conference if you want to watch defense. Some would say it's the SEC, but I think it's the Big Ten because the Big Ten is defensive battles. The SEC is kind of getting overshadowed by just Alabama in general. And he also says Wisconsin will win it all. We'll see, though. Wisconsin is probably going to at least open up as a top 15 preseason team. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for everyone that tuned in today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter at JB Talk Sports. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everybody.